I guess I'll say good morning since I'm coming to us from Kauai, Hawaii, where it's only 8 o'clock in the morning here. But we're excited to have everybody with us. I'm Stephanie Rogers, part of Live Your Legend and a part of we've started a new thing here, Live Your Legend Virtual, for those of us that don't have our own Live Your Legend meetups in our local cities or towns yet. So this is a way that we can all come together and just get to know each other, to be able to share what projects we're working on, what things we're excited about, and also a chance to get to know each other. So, we're a little bit new to Blab. This is the second one that we've done. And I've got my partner in crime here, Greta, as well. And so Greta and I are going to take a minute and just introduce ourselves a little bit. And then what we'd like to do is open up the video chat for any of you to grab a seat. So you can just request to come over to the video part, and then that'll let you log in and chat live with the rest of us. And then we'll also be monitoring the chat section. So feel free to type any questions you have in the chat, or if there's specific resources you're looking for or ideas you have, you can share in the chat section, or again, join us on video. So a little bit about me. I started following Scott when he still had the Reading for Your Passion blog many years ago. So I've been around the Live Your Legend movement really since its inception. And a big part of how I ended up in Kauai, Hawaii is by following my own passion. I have 20 years of corporate experience in workshop facilitation, instructional design, a lot of adult education, and knowledge management. But I've always been passionate about coaching, life coaching, career coaching, helping people figure out their passion. So, of course, Live Your Legend was a great home for me. And so I've started my own coaching business now, and I'm in school to also become a health coach, because I realized the importance of holistic coaching, that being able to really bring all of these pieces of the circle of life together around relationships, and that food is a piece of that, but there's so many other parts that are also important. So I really get a lot of my support and encouragement from our Live Your Legend community. And that's why I was really excited to really take a leadership role in terms of getting our virtual community together here. So Greta, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks, Stephanie. So I am calling in from southern Chile. I moved down here about a year ago. Actually, it was maybe a year and a half that I got involved with Live Your Legend when I was still living in San Francisco. And I came down here really to be able to fuse a lot of my passions, namely outdoor adventure. I'm a massive outdoor adventure enthusiast, along with environmental conservation and sustainability in supply chains, which is, off the top of your head, doesn't seem that connected, but my current passion project that I'm working on actually brings them all together. And in January, I'm planning to ride my horse across Patagonia. So I'll be taking 2 months to do a horse trek the entire length of the Carretera Austral, self-supported. And the purpose of my ride is to inspire curiosity and to celebrate simplicity. So I'm hoping to build a movement of curious consumers by inspiring people to think about where the things that they own come from. So through interesting and entertaining storytelling, I'll be telling the stories of the things that I carry with me. So explaining a lot about the complexities of supply chain in a really simple way, to better connect people with the things that they own, and raise consciousness about where they go when we're done using them. So that's a little bit about me. And I absolutely love the Live Your Legend community, mainly because I travel a lot. I have historically. And so for me, it's always been a little bit hard to be able to commit to a local group often, because I'm either on the move or I'm traveling. And yet I really tend to thrive when I can bounce ideas off of other people. And I love also hearing what other people are working on. Because if I have anything that I can offer in terms of my background or my experience, I really love to connect and share and support, especially because I've taken a lot of risks and I love kind of pushing boundaries. And so I love connecting with other people who are on the cusp of that and might need to see someone who they can say, oh, you did it, so I can do it. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Greta. Yeah, Greta and I were talking for a minute before we got on the blab here. And I remember that I had seen Greta in our Facebook group and things talking, but the last blab we had was the first time I got to really meet you and hear your story. And since then I've become an active follower of your blog and have really, living here on Kauai, we also deal with a lot of the environmental pollution issues of plastics and just trash. Here it's more trash that gets brought up onto the beaches from storms versus people necessarily depositing the trash directly. But either way, it's something just to raise awareness around and for us all thinking about how we consume things. So it's really interesting work, and especially your journey across Patagonia. I think I'm really looking forward to hearing about that. But I guess I wonder too, will you have any access to internet at all during that time, or will we be like completely internet isolated?
Yeah, it'll be spotty, but there are a couple of towns sprinkled across, so there will be some areas that I'll be able to connect. So it'll be kind of on and off, but not a constant stream for sure, which is also part of the journey.
Right. I was curious. We'll have to wait till the end and maybe have a special blab where you can share about your journey.
Yeah.
So great. Well, again, for those of you who've joined us, we welcome. There's 2 additional seats here. So all you have to do is say that you want to jump on the video and be able to share. And at this point, Stephen, if you're out there, I see you in the chat section, but if you would like to come on video and share for a few minutes. Oh, and there you are. Okay. Clicking the checkbox here. Should be on camera in just a minute. Wow, not only are you on camera, but you look all official over there. Please, by all means, introduce yourself to the group.
Hi, how you doing? You can hear me okay?
Yeah,
cool. Okay. I have to excuse the mess behind. I just realized what an awful office I've got. You can see the telescope in the background. I think I mentioned to you, Stephanie, about that. That was my little present to myself for finishing the second draft of my book. But hi everybody. I just wanted to, I was really keen to join. Stephanie, thank you for the encouragement as well. I've been following Scott since June, really. I got back from holiday and started searching around on the internet just for things to find a bit more purpose and passion in life. And then I started taking Scott's Live Off Your Passion course. And I suppose really it was around the tragic passing of Scott that really brought me into the community, particularly on Facebook. And I just felt like I belonged. And it might sound a bit strange, but the connection with everybody online, there was the common thing of everybody having a passion and working towards that, or trying to identify what it is and work towards that. That really brought me to the group. And what I've been doing recently is I've got 3 businesses. I'm a little bit greedy. I've sold my main business. It's an accountancy practice, and for the last probably 18 months to 24 months, that I've been really unhappy with it. I used to love it. I've been in the accountancy profession for 15 years. I used to really love getting up in the morning and doing the stuff that I did. And it got to a point where I just fell out of love with the reporting and the tax and the legislation. And I also did some coaching and mentoring, and actually the book that I've written is 7-step methodology based around how to run a successful business and find your passion. Have an extraordinary business based around your passion. So it got to that point where I thought, I really need to do something else. And Scott's inspiration from the community and the information, it's amazing, isn't it? The Live Your Legend website, the articles that Scott has written, there's so much in there, and you find new things every day. But it gave me the push I needed to make that decision to say, this is it. You're making that step. I mentioned I have another couple of businesses, and they're not to the same scale as my accountancy practice, but they're enough to provide a living for now. So it wasn't a complete jump ship risk type approach, but It's enabled me to really start focusing now. And one of those businesses, which is based around coaching, mentoring, and teaching. Teaching is my most, I think, my most passionate area of that business, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on now. And teaching around how to help people run their own business successfully, because I'm sure it's the same as it is in the United States as it is in the UK. The number of businesses that fail in the first year and then the subsequent first 5 years is quite shocking, really. And there are obviously a number of reasons why, but a lot of them, I think, comes down to maybe not being passionate about the subject, or not being able to understand the numbers properly and follow that. So that's where I'll be working from now on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Greta. Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it's great too, Stephen. And I wanted to say too, Greta, for you and Stephen both, if you guys will share, how people can get in touch with you in the chat section, if you have a link to your website or blog or anything, if people want to reach out to you for help or not only help, but also if they're interested, in joining into the projects or things that you're working on as well. This is we're experimenting with this idea of our virtual lab of how can we be better connected virtually in terms of what kind of resources people are looking for, what kind of help does everybody need. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm just starting my coaching business, and I can truly use help around the infrastructure of how to have a business, So, just being an entrepreneur and having worked 20 years in a corporate structure and then coming into an entrepreneurial thing, and also being a person, I get interested in the shiny objects, like, oh, I'm going to go study this. Oh, I'm going to go join this group. And next thing you know, I'm in 5 communities and I'm not focused on my business, and how do I actually keep that going and make a living doing something I'm passionate about? So I'm sure I'm not the only one in that category.
I think also it helps to have a space where we can actually talk to each other and you can see people, because I often try to, I post things on the Facebook groups for Live Your Legend, and try to, invite other people to connect if they have needs, or, what their asks might be, to try and get that, from other people so that I could be of service to them. But I don't always get responses. And so I'm sure, we can help one another. And sometimes it helps to just be able to pick each other's brains and say, oh, well, about this, and I have this question, and just be able to engage in a way it's not just a social media platform. We're actually seeing each other and hearing each other.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think Scott would agree with that too, in terms of face-to-face. Although we can't physically be with each other, we're virtually face-to-face, which I think is a pretty cool substitute.
Yeah, definitely.
And Greta, did you want to mention about your blog, where people can follow you as well?
Yeah, so I'll put it here. So Wander with Greta is essentially my site, my blog, as well as on Instagram. And you can actually see, so part of my work and part of my purpose in coming to Chile was to be much more conscious of how I could take action every day that is not only kind of keeping me accountable to folding gratitude into each moment of my day, but also helping me shift my perspective about certain issues that challenge me, where I can't see a solution or a path forward. And so in October, my kind of project that I just assigned to myself was to get outside every single day. I live in an amazing corner of the world. Chile, southern Chile, is just pristine wilderness. And I didn't want to take it for granted. And recently, I think, part of actually Scott's passing, also I lost a couple of other very bright, shining light beacon type people this year. And it's just given me a sense of urgency in not taking for granted kind of the things that I know I draw the most joy from. And so getting outside is definitely one of those things. So my intention for October is to get outside every day, and also to post photographs of all of the stuff that I haul out of the backcountry. Because even though I live in a really pristine, wild place, every single day I find garbage out in wild places. And so instead of focusing on the fact that it's litter, because yeah, litter is a problem and there's a solution, but really the bigger problem is the amount of stuff that we consume. And so I'm trying to draw focus to a softer conversation around the amount of stuff that we consume and the impact of that stuff. And so currently my Instagram feed is full of images of the amazing, beautiful places that I'm exploring, as well as the things that I'm packing out. So you can find that on Wander with Greta. And then my blog, I've done now 2 blog posts that are focused on that project. And the most recent one was all about kind of getting out from under the weight of the world, because it can be daunting sometimes to try to tackle really tough stuff, which I'm sure so many of you can relate to, especially if you want to do work with purpose and you want to have a positive impact. Sometimes you can get buried under all the problems. And so I like to focus everything that I post. I like to be able to focus on bringing a positive perspective to it and shifting in how to shift into a positive way of thinking about it, even if it's a really tough topic. So yeah, I'll just post that link now. So if anyone wants to check it out, come on over and join me too. There's a hashtag if anyone gets outside and loves to explore and you feel like packing out some stuff. I love to see your pictures.
Awesome. Thanks, Greta, for sharing more about your project. And I love what you said about that clarification around, it's not just about people littering or trash, but more thinking about what we consume. And for those of you online, when you see Greta's photos, one of the other things I really like that you do is you turn them almost into art, the way that you organize the things that you pack out, and they're their own artistic representation. So it's really compelling to me, to look at. Yeah. And so I know there was someone that was trying to get into the video chat, and I didn't say yes at the moment because Stephen was talking and we were getting some background noise. So we do have another open seat here if anyone else wants to join us and chime in even just for a minute and introduce yourself. And now let's see. Okay, I'm getting 2 requests. I'm going to say yes to Walid here, and then we'll let the other person come in. One of us can drop out, should let you in. And so again, just a chance to introduce yourselves to the group and share with us what you're working on or what things, if you have something you'd like assistance with or help. And it should be letting Walid in here. It's saying it's apparently the internet is contemplating existence. And Stephen, I was going to say your office actually looks really organized to me. Yeah, lovely little bookcase back there. Yeah, your telescope.
Thank you.
I'm wishing I had a telescope here in Hawaii. The stars are so beautiful.
They are, aren't they? Yeah. I remember when I was fortunate enough to visit Kauai on my honeymoon a few years ago, and we were blown away. Not only how clear and beautiful the stars were, but how close they seemed as well. It's amazing.
It is. Yeah. I think we're very close to the equator here. So there's a mountain too that's on the Big Island. That's, I think, one of the tallest peaks in the Northern Hemisphere.
Okay.
So hope to make it there. And there's a lot of telescopes actually there as well. Yeah, for some reason it is not letting Walid. I'm having trouble, or it's just not letting you in. I'm going to X out. And if you'll try to request again, I'll try to let you back in. In the meantime, we've got another person here that looks like they wanted to join, so we'll let them in. Hi, welcome to the Blab. Hi, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Yusuf. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, we hear you.
Hi, Yusuf.
Are you guys available?
What was that last thing? You're a little hard to hear.
Oh, are you guys American?
I still couldn't hear that exactly. I don't know if it's a little bit garbled with your internet connection, maybe?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now.
Yeah.
So you were discussing a topic, yeah?
A topic? If you could, can you introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you and what you are passionate about?
Well, I'm an English student with pressure working to be a teacher at Still University. My major theme is cultural studies. I'm doing I'm doing research on translation, English Arabic translation. So I'm from Morocco. That's it.
Oh,
I think, yeah, I'm gonna have to let you go because I think it's a weak internet connection. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's the hard part with internet stuff, depending on countries. Yeah, if you will, Yosef, if you will chat with us in the chat section on the right-hand side, and if you have a website or any questions that you want to ask, we can certainly try to speak to those. But we were having a really hard time hearing you. And I'm trying to let Waleed back in. Waleed, I had tried to let you in a second ago, but it's looking like it's having trouble giving you the microphone or putting you on camera. I'm pretty new to Blab too. John or anybody else out there, any ideas about, I know it's frustrating when we can't get technology to be on our side.
We're so close.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely need a good internet connection to be able to really get into the Blab here. Yeah, it's looking like it wasn't letting Waleed in again. Yeah, here, Waleed, I'm trying to let you in, but it's not making a connection. Where are you connecting to us from? Yeah, and definitely to be using a Chrome browser. And okay, I am going to say, is there anybody else, Kevin or Lavinia or some of the other folks that are on the call here? Here's Kevin joining us.
Oh, you guys can hear
Kevin.
me. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump on. I mean, I'm fortunate to have a decent Live Your Legend local group here in Calgary, but I always love connecting with more members of the Live Your Legend community around the world, and this is a great platform for doing it, I think. So thank you for putting this on. Quick background on me for those who don't know. I left my corporate job 6 weeks ago now, and I'm also in the process of starting up a coaching business, focusing on helping people with habit and lifestyle changes, as that's something that I've done a lot of myself over the last few years, and I've benefited quite greatly from it. So definitely some struggles adjusting to the life outside the corporate bubble, but I'm enjoying it, and yeah, it's great.
Well, so speaking of that, since your business is all around habit change and things, and since you've come from a corporate environment, you know, and now in an entrepreneurial space, do you have any, you know, kind of quick tips or suggestions for other people like me who are also making that leap?
I think routines and setting up a good routine, especially in the morning, I found anyways, to really get yourself off, get the day started. You know, I like to exercise in the morning. I find that it gets the creative juices flowing, and you know, then that's not looming over my head for the rest of the day. And yeah, just, you know, really reflecting on how your body, like what times of day you do your best work. You know, I tend to do my best work in the morning. So after exercise, I try to focus time for doing the creative work, and then leave the more mundane tasks like email and whatever for the afternoon.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Thank you. And I'm kind of the opposite. I'm not exactly a morning person, but I'm very much a night person. I do my most creative work and writing and things, not in the afternoon, but kind of evening, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to acknowledge that everybody's different, right? And you just got to find what works best for you, because nobody can tell you what works best for you. You got to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, That's a really good tip. And too, Kevin, will you share, your website link or ways people can get in touch with you if they want
Yeah.
to learn more about what you're up to?
Yeah, so my blog, I started a blog when I stopped working called adventurousintrovert.com. I'll type it in the chat here in a second. And then the business, the coaching, I'm just getting going. So nothing's formed yet, but yeah, enjoying the ride.
Awesome.
Stephen and Kevin, I have a question for you guys. Before the call, Stephanie and I were chatting and talking about what kind of a leading question could be for the group. And so we wanted to offer up, what is something that you're seeking in terms of support or help, and just kind of putting it out there just so that we can start that conversation as well, just in case there's someone else in the crowd who could maybe support. So do either of you guys have anything that you are seeking from the community or anything to that extent?
I can answer it, I guess. For me, it's just the community and interacting with other people who are also, running their own businesses or starting a coaching practice or whatever it is. Just to, it can be a little lonely being an entrepreneur working at home, right? So this is kind of a good social aspect, but also just to get inspired by what other people are doing is one of the biggest benefits that I'm looking to get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I second that, to be honest. It's that community feel and inspiration, and to be around people that are either going through the same things you're going through or have come through the other side and they're able to help you at the moment. So, I mean, for me, I'm sort of starting again. I've gone back to being a startup business, which seems to be the common theme of us at the moment. So I've gone through that process before a few years ago when I started my business after I left my corporate life, and I suppose the thing for me is because I've done it once before, it's even scarier for me because I know what to expect. Because sometimes naivety is bliss. But it's being around people, I think, that that really do inspire you to carry on and pursuing your passion, because it's so easy. It is so easy just to say, I'm going to take the paycheck. I'm going to take this work because, it pays the bills. It gets me that holiday that I want to go on. And I don't really enjoy the work, but it's money. And it's so easy to do that rather than to stick to your guns and take the harder path and do something that you really want to enjoy, even if the fruits, are brought later on in the journey. So I think that's me. For me, it's that support, really, just to be part of the community and be inspired by other people.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that's why I love hearing what other people are doing. Go ahead, Kevin.
Sorry, the one other thing I'd say, I don't know, I know this Live Your Legend Virtual is new and it's evolving, but depending on how it goes, if you start getting a regular group, a regular time kind of thing, accountability actions, I think, are also something very powerful to share with the group, what they say about sharing your goals with other people. And I mean, we do it in our local group here. We always close with accountability actions, and I know people find that quite beneficial.
Yep, definitely.
I sure do.
Especially when we're working at home and we've got our own to-do lists and our priorities, but there's no one really kind of like, okay, you didn't do that.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys. Speaking of that, about accountability, or kind of just, I'm really just taking the bull by the horns in terms of forming our virtual group here. And, I'm only in Kauai for a fixed period of time. And so I'm actually not looking to create a local Live Your Legend group here, since I'm only going to be here a little while longer. And so I wondered about, from a place to share accountability goals, like since we're not meeting in person, obviously, like, do we think a private Facebook group, a circle, like a circle, I guess, in the Mighty Bell platform, like where, I guess I'll ask the three of you, since you're here on the video, which ones of those methods would resonate for you? If you were going to share your accountability stuff someplace, what would you prefer?
Definitely Facebook for me.
Yeah. Like just a private group, like a Facebook group.
Yeah.
I'm part of some other ones and they work quite well. Mighty Bell is okay, but I don't know. It's just not everybody uses it. And Facebook, everyone's on Facebook already, it seems. So Facebook's my vote.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, awesome.
And having that community accessible, I think, is a great idea, because I'm still connected with the San Francisco community, because I went to 2 meetups before I moved to Chile and connected with so many great people, and I love to see how their projects are evolving and how their work is evolving and to stay connected with them. But you know, it's not quite the same to be able to engage kind of with other people that are kind of out there on their own and can't get together in person.
Right. Yeah. And I'll say same. I mean, Facebook for me too. I wanted to just ask to see what other people said, but I am part of some other Facebook groups, and I love social media stuff by nature. So Facebook's an easy one for me. Cool. Yeah. And I think, you know, in terms of structure for people listening, or just anybody who listens to this replay later, I am recording today's session, that we wanted to host at this particular time, you know, so we'd have something for our European brethren. So Stephen, especially being in the UK. Yes, thanks for joining us. But when I used to work at Deloitte, and my job there was teaching all of our consulting practitioners around the world how to use all of our knowledge management tools, and especially how to get people to collaborate, you know, how to get people in different countries to take the time to share with each other, sharing our knowledge. And really, of course, it's all about community building and the power of what we can do when we share together. But in that role, part of my responsibility was all of the logistics of setting up these webinars for how do we get people all around the world to be able to participate. So doing these virtual meetups is something that I have a lot of experience with, not in the Blab platform, but just the logistics behind them. And so our vision is to have co-hosts in each of the regions, you know, so what I would call EMEA, which is, you know, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, the African continent, and then Asia, or Asia Pacific, so which includes all of the Asian countries, and then Australia, New Zealand, you know, everything in that part of the world, and then Americas for all of North America, South America, and Central America. And so my vision is to be able to have, ideally, if we can get enough, you know, logistics support, having a virtual meetup every month in every region would be ideal. But at the start here, at least just rotating. So this is our EMEA one today. And then our next one is going to be for Asia Pacific. And Crystal Price, if you all may have seen her name in the Live Your Legend Facebook groups, but she's the one who created the animated video. It was like a 2 or 3 minute video all about Live Your Legend that she did as a tribute for Scott. And so she and I have connected via Facebook, and we actually got on Skype together. So she's going to co-host with me for the New Zealand event, which I'll post the time and everything for that in all of our Facebook groups and stuff. And that'll be in early November. So literally, I think it's in 2 weeks. So, you know, but just those are some things to keep in mind and I think what I'd like to do at first is just have the one Facebook group for everybody, you know, until we get some momentum. People might want to break off and have their own regional pages. But my thought is the more having that global virtual group, the more we can help each other and stay connected.
I agree with that.
I love that.
Sure.
That's great.
Yeah. Any feedback about that vision or thoughts or suggestions?
Makes sense to me.
Spawn, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea for sure. I'm going to jump off and see if anybody else wants to come on. But
all right. Thanks, Kevin.
Nice to talk to you all.
See you.
See you later.
Likewise,
See you
I'm going to give
later.
somebody else some room too. So
Thanks,
thanks
Stephen.
guys.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks,
Yeah, you'll still be online. Yeah. All right. Good.
Who's
yeah. Here's John is next. Awesome.
Guys, yeah, glad we're keeping the this momentum going. This is awesome. So
Hey,
thanks
John.
for putting this on. Hey, Greta. Yeah, I just want to kind of contribute or offer that I'm actually doing something tomorrow it's more geared towards indie creatives, which is what I'm finding to be my kind of audience and stuff like that. And really, it's funny, like kind of different times the synchronicity or the overlaps with things, because what I've been kind of conceptualizing and kind of now starting to kind of move forward with is the idea of virtual masterminds, basically doing what we're doing, but it's more focused for a specific group and for specific format and stuff. but it's just the same idea, you know, like meet periodically, have accountability and stuff, and then also like just kind of share what you're working on, and so that way the other folks can contribute their resources and ideas and thoughts and stuff to help you to take that one action. Because here's the thing that we all like kind of get into with this shiny object thing is we keep looking for the solution, and we know the answers. We know deep down what it is that we need to do and stuff. So we just need that one thing each week to take as to really kind of make all the difference and stuff. And I think really finding people who get what you're working on and can, you know, either offer their ideas or, you know, like kind of their resources and stuff, that's I think the real kind of the juice of you know, what it is that, you know, when we get together and stuff. So yeah, I'm totally like down for like kind of, you know, helping others to do the same thing and stuff. And so yeah, I'm definitely, you know, glad that you're continuing this on and stuff, and then we'll see about like kind of helping the other, you know, different folks in the different regions.
Yeah, and I love that idea. I know Lavinia is here with us, and Lavinia, if you want to jump on the camera too and say hi to the group. But Lavinia and I have met and actually started exploring, you know, mastermind group. You know, I know intellectually, I know having a mastermind group is a great way to help, you know, propel. But it's this thing of finding like the right mix of the, you know, making sure it's people that you really resonate with, and that your goals are somewhat similar to where you're really helping each other move forward, you know, and not yet another conversation that might be sidetracking you from what you're really trying to work on. And with that, Lavinia is going to join us too and say hi to the group and share. And Lavinia too, I know you, if I remember correctly, I believe you're leaving for South America very soon. So if you want to share with everybody what you're working on, what you're up to, and also if there's any specific support, you know, or accountability things, speaking of that, if there's anything that we can do to support you on your current journey. It was letting you in, but then it went away. So Lavinia, if you'll try again to sign in. Here we go. Let me see.
Yeah, it can definitely be very touch and go. You know, different times, Stephanie, you know, you're doing a great job of just kind of keeping things going and stuff, because sometimes that's really just the case. It's like all these, again, logistics issues of the internet connections and people, you know, like kind of trying to jump on with sketchy Wi-Fi or, you know, other things and stuff.
Yeah, and I know Blab is really a beta platform that's under constant growth and change. So we got to.
It hasn't even been more than like maybe a few months yet. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And I think it's really taken off, you know, a lot of popularity. So
Definitely.
So Lavinia is having some trouble. She says carry on for the moment. And Lavinia too, if you have a website or anything you want to share, and I'll speak for her to say that since I know she and I met to explore the idea of mastermind, that she's really working on, she's going to be going to Colombia and is in school or doing a certification program that's all around teaching English as a second language. And but also, John, I don't know, have you and Lavinia had a chance to talk? Because she's also in a creative space. Yeah, she works with creative types as well, and has some really interesting ideas around creating like a retreat center where people who are writers or any kind of creative artists can come together at a retreat center, where kind of even like a place to live or stay for a period of time, and have all their services provided for that, or, you know, like meals and their, what I would call the Maslow's hierarchy type stuff, you know, your basic needs, so that you can focus on the things that you want to be creative about. That she loves just the hospitality piece of the hosting, and also loves the creative thing. So being able to combine those together and provide those kind of services for people that want to be able to focus on what they're being creative about, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah. So she's getting ready to leave to go to a school in Colombia for, I can't remember how long, but at least November. And Lavinia, even if you wanted to put in the chat section, you know, some stuff about your adventures, that'd be great. And and I think, I mean, John, do you have any thoughts about, you know, one question I have is, again, being a shiny object person, or, you know, and it's because I get inspired, you know, when I meet different people and I'm like, ooh, I want to get on Skype and talk to that person about what they're working on, because it helps me feel inspired to keep going. But I wonder if you have any advice about balancing that, you know, virtual mastermind, or, you know, kind of the productivity tips of what you just started to talk about delineating like kind of how much time out of your week do you spend on the inspiring stuff and how much time is like the nuts and bolts of really keeping your business going. Yeah, the production and focusing on your business.
Yeah, I mean that's the I think that's one thing that we all kind of really struggle with is like you said, how much do we spend learning versus how much do we spend doing and stuff. And really, like I think what we typically do is do it where we spend 3 or 4 times the amount of time learning something, whereas we just need to just be getting into the doing and stuff. And really, like kind of I think I think if anything, it's probably like a curve where like we do invest a lot up front and stuff, and that's natural because we just don't feel like ready and stuff like that. But what I would suggest is like kind of to basically be really aware of how much you're spending, like kind of track it if you can and stuff, and really like shift as quickly as you can and stuff. One person who I really recommend for like checking out his stuff is Josh Kaufman, who talks about the 20 hours thing, where basically, we all have heard of the 10,000 hour thing and stuff. And really what I've started doing is like looking for, like kind of what he talks about is finding what are those key elements of whatever it is that you're trying to do and stuff like that. And getting down to like where learning it enough to where you're able to get practicing, like just basically the idea, like because his thing is about like really it only takes about 20 hours, and he shows it like with different things that he did with like learning how to play this game Go, or learn how to do I think yoga is another example he gave and stuff. His book like really breaks down like how he kind of developed this framework for looking at different things that he wanted to learn and how to get it to where identifying those key things that then get you practicing and doing whatever it is that you need to do and stuff like that.
Yeah, that sounds really helpful. And John, will you put a link to his resources in the chat section?
Yeah.
For us?
Let me
Yeah,
grab
thank you.
that right now.
Yeah, because I haven't heard of him before. So, I remember when Tim Ferriss first came out with a 4-Hour Workweek book, and I remember being all excited, and I recently, read, yes, Kevin just wrote in the chat, another shiny object that sounds useful. And see, that's what I mean. It's this delineation. So I'll share too, for example, right now I have a number of people that I've been working with as coaching clients in more of a, I've had quite a few kind of discovery sessions with people, where I meet, have an impactful coaching session, and where I get stuck is the proposal phase, of taking that to, just sitting down and saying, because again, the monetization of my business is brand new. I was doing a lot of coaching on the side when I was working in corporate, but I worked a lot with nonprofits. I worked with like high school and college students who were trying to decide what they were going to do next and helping them figure out their strengths and how to apply those in their job search. But I didn't need to make any money at that time. So I wasn't monetizing. So now making that leap of helping someone because I want to help them, but then also saying, hey, well, I'm running a business. So that conversion process of that, creation of paying clients and I get kind of wrapped around the axle about that piece. So that's just where I'm stuck.
Yeah, and this is a thing I've seen a lot, not just with your own coaching, but just businesses in general, is that we spend a lot of times on the things that are scalable, and we should be doing the opposite. We should be spending our time on the things that are not scalable, things that require your attention and that best use your attention and stuff. For example, like the proposal thing, that's actually, like if you get down to it, does making a proposal actually help your client? We would say on the surface, yes, because you're customizing and stuff, but in reality, your actual coaching, your actual spending the time like learning about what it is that their challenges and how to best help them stuff. That's where you can best be spending your time. So really, like if anything, if you can work on the ways to kind of get to where you're spending less time on the contracts and the proposal and stuff, right? Then you're getting to spend more time on the coaching and the actual things that again are not scalable, the things that like really will really help your clients and stuff. So that's I think like kind of if I can plant a seed, that's the thing to kind of and the ways to do that. One way might be possibly to standardize as much as possible, where like maybe down the road you'll still be working out ways to like kind of find or develop proposals that can really be developed for each client and stuff. but not to be spending your time on the many sections of that like don't need to be customized and stuff. Like, so that's like kind of like the leverage point, if you will, that like I constantly look at that. It's like, how do you get to that key area that really shifts you from that whole 80-20 thing, right? That we only get 80% of the results from 20% of our efforts and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you. And that's my natural instinct, is to focus more on my clients and getting to know them and like doing the coaching. And so I think it's kind of just getting over this hurdle of creating the standardized stuff. And, yeah, I mean, I absolutely get what you're saying. So it's very helpful. Thank you. And
no problem.
yeah, and John, while you're talking too, is there anything, where you would like help from the group or things, that you're looking for from our Live Your Legend community? I know you also have a local group there, but, what kind of things would be of service for you?
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow we had the session, and I actually just realized that the blab that we had scheduled dropped off, and I think that's a lesson learned for me. Is I think what happened was I accidentally, when I was trying to just get the link today, ended up actually starting the blab and stuff. So that's a lesson learned, that like you have to be careful about clicking the links with the blabs, that like you can actually accidentally start it ahead of time, and I think that's what happened and stuff. So now I have to create another link, and as soon as we get off of here, I guess. But and really, to me, the discussion tomorrow will be like a kickoff of basically we're looking to build this group of people that were really develop what it is that these how these masterminds will run and stuff. I've done informal ones with a couple friends and stuff, and so this will be the one that will be first formal. And our thought process with it is basically to share with people what it can do for them, and then also, like you said, like kind of have a ongoing enrollment process where basically people sign up and what it is that they're really looking to get out of it, what are their ideal people to kind of be matched up with. So it'd be kind of like a way where we help to kind of form these circles of accountability of folks that like really will help each other the best. Not, in other words, it's not simply like just throwing a bunch of people together. Basically, it's an application process, and then the other members will vote as to who they want to have within their accountability circles and stuff. So it's really, again, an evolving idea and concept and stuff. But I think really just some of the things that even from what we've been doing with these virtual meetups, I'm starting to get more ideas as how to kind of make it even more a solid kind of model going forward and stuff.
Yeah, great.
I think that sounds fantastic. It's almost like a match.com for for creative entrepreneurs too. I mean, in terms of being able to say, okay, these are my strengths and this is what I'm seeking, and being able to have some functionality and connecting the people that you're really seeking.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that sounds really exciting.
Awesome. Appreciate the feedback. That's part of it too, just seeing like kind of how it resonates with people and whether it's something that they see value and stuff with it.
Yeah, I definitely see the value. And I was going to say, if you want to, once you get the new blab set up, if you want to share about it in our Live Your Legend group, like the Facebook group or whatever, just so any of us that are able to join, too, if it's, And so is your idea though, with the session tomorrow, kind of just kicking it off and generating interest and, getting people talking about it?
Yeah. And here's the thing that like I've started kind of realizing, like kind of traditionally what I've done in the past, to be honest, is I'm an artist, if you will, that like I tend to just create something and just put it out there and stuff like that, and just like get the feedback. And now what I've been working on is being more entrepreneurial, where basically you're doing that MVP, you're basically getting the minimum viable product out there to kind of test and see how folks respond with it. And really, like, the blabs for me is a great way to just test the concept, because the idea of these virtual meetups is really having just like this, a circle of 4 or 5 people and stuff, and basically you're meeting and you're just doing the things we've been essentially doing and stuff, but it's making it more of a more stricter or like kind of a more formalized process, and that way allowing the people to kind of basically regulate to a degree, but also, what my role is just basically helping the group to come together, handle the logistics, kind of like the stuff you've been doing, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that community moderator sort of role, or yeah. Yeah, very cool. Well, yeah, well, I definitely look forward to, hearing how that's going and, even participating as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just sitting here thinking about the multiple programs I have going on right now. I mean, I mentioned about health coaching, and I'm actually in an academic program through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which is it's a health coaching certification program. And as part of that, we, can select accountability partners. And it was a really, I'll just say, like a random crapshoot of how, it was essentially people, there's like over 1,000 people in our class. It's a virtual class. And we were in a Facebook group, and I'm like, how do I pick between these, hundreds of people that are like, hey, I'm looking for an accountability partner, but nothing about them. So I love that the idea of the match.com kind of thing of it's almost, having this profile that says, like a LinkedIn profile, that says, these are the things I'm good at. These are the things I'm looking for help with. This is the kind of person I want to partner with. And being able to go in there and have some criteria to select from, even if it's like self-selecting, but having a profile to look at, to be able to compare and see. And so thankfully for me, what happened was someone, another woman reached out to me, sent me a private message on Facebook. I don't know if she just went and looked at my comments or feed or whatever, thought I looked nice. I don't know. But she sent me a message and said that she, wanted to know if I wanted to be an accountability partner with her. And she said a little bit about herself in the message. And I'm very seriously thinking about moving to San Diego after I finish my time here in Kauai. And she just happens to live in San Diego. And I already have, I've just had all these kind of like perfect storm things happening about people in San Diego. So as soon as I saw that's where she lived, and she also had a corporate background and left corporate, to focus on health coaching. So kind of very similar backgrounds. Anyway, so we've become accountability partners for school. But so now I kind of feel like I just have a lot of different eggs, a lot of different baskets going on. So I'm trying to figure out how to tie everything together and not be too unfocused.
Yeah, it's funny that kind of goes back to the things that we talked about the last time about, and we still need to do that, about this discussion about choosing when to be open to opportunities and possibilities, and when to just get down and kind of focus to what it is it takes to get things done and stuff. So it's, I mean, we're still due for that, Greta. I haven't forgotten. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool. Well, I know Lavinia was trying to get in again, and she keeps having some internet problems, but she did write over here in the chat section. I just wanted to point that out to people. But yeah, so she was saying the ESL teaching piece is more about the opportunity to explore the Latin American culture. Yeah, once she finds a place to host. So very cool. Yeah. And I think I would love at this point, I know we're almost to the top of the hour. So I really just want to thank everyone who came and joined us for the conversation. Greta, thank you so much for coming and co-hosting with me. I appreciate it. Yeah. And John, thanks for making a repeat visit, from the original virtual Blab session. And, I would love to just say too, you guys all know where to find me via, email or Facebook, et cetera. But any suggestions around logistics going forward for these virtual meetups, especially do we think is Blab the best platform to continue using for now, or is there another, platform? Because the one thing I really want to be able to do is set up meetings ahead of time to be able to advertise the links, and have a structured place. I want to be able to record the meetings, and things. But I'm not sure that Blab is best for every country, because I'm concerned about the internet connections. And I know from my time at Deloitte that even in a really huge corporate environment, the internet is what it is in different countries, and it doesn't matter how big of a company you are, you can't make the internet better. So I just wonder if Blab is a good global platform, and I haven't used it enough yet to know, the answer to that question. Go ahead.
I think that from my perspective, what I'm seeing is kind of the trend is that Blab is a great way to open up to a wider audience that like really aren't familiar with, say, the Live Your Legend or, you know, the idea of virtual meetups and stuff. So I think it's great for exposure, but I agree that like down the road, maybe for, especially if you're doing ones that are, once you have that tribe, the people that like kind of, you know, are moving forward and stuff like that, then it's time to absolutely look at some other platforms and stuff. There's ones that use, you know, different ways of using the Hangout platform, and that's okay. But I think you face a lot of the similar challenges with internet connections and that kind of thing and stuff. And then, you know, never mind in China where Google's still banned and everything like that, then you have a whole nother thing that like, you know, you just can't get around, you know. Zoom is one of the platforms I've seen that like it's its own thing and stuff. And then there's other kind of webinar type platforms that really doesn't require like kind of a ton of money like GoToWebinar. So there's a whole bunch of other ones that like kind of are in that lower range and stuff in terms of costs and you know, like affordability and everything that like offer some other suggestions. I guess worst case is like maybe just having ones that just audio and then like where maybe you have, you know, some slide presentation and kind of minimizing the video requirements and stuff. So that's maybe like just another workaround that you may consider. Like, in other words, more like kind of similar like to the teleseminars you're probably used to as well.
And you make a really good point. I think especially in Blab, like trying to have 4 people on camera at one time, sometimes the more people that are on camera, the more video bandwidth that takes up. So these are just good, you know, I know that I'm getting very logistical here, but I want to ensure that these sessions are helpful and that people that want to connect can. And, you know, so I think it's just going to be an exploration, you know, as we experiment with different things. And, you know, Kevin mentioned in the chat here about Zoom as well, John, like you just said. And, yeah, and I ran into this too. So meetings are free for if it's up to 40 minutes. But to me, that's annoying. Like, I want to have an hour meeting, you know, at least. I don't want to be limited to 40 minutes. And I'm sure that that's why they do that, because they know people want to be able to talk for an hour uninterrupted. You know, but then it's $15 a month, you know, but it's something. So definitely, I know we use Zoom a little bit for some of the memorial things when Scott passed away. And I found that platform really stable. So again, some exploration, you know.
Yeah.
But I welcome suggestions from you guys and anybody else that's listening, you know, for how we can streamline things. So, yeah, but again, thank you all. What I'm going to do is take this recording, and I think, John, didn't we, last time we just published it on YouTube, right? And then use that as a link?
Yeah, you can upload it. Like what will happen is you'll get it as a link for downloading the video and stuff. You can actually have an audio file as well. You know, so that's also another use that you can have available. And then you just upload it into YouTube like other videos and stuff. You know, you can have different links and all that, just like any other YouTube video.
Great. So I will publish that to YouTube, and then I'll share it in our Live Your Legend multiple spots, our Facebook group, and then also in Mighty Bell, so the people who couldn't join can listen to it. And but great. But thank you. Do you guys have any last parting comments, or anybody in chat have anything else you want to share?
I was just going to say.
Thanthis, organizing
thank you, Stephanie, and also. Your idea, again, I love your idea about starting like a digital or a location nomad Facebook group, because then we can also have a space where if people have ideas that they want to suggest for kind of topics or the lead-in questions that can guide the discussion, then we've got like a good forum, and you're not kind of getting bombarded with direct messages for, you know, independent ideas. We can also have another area where we can kind of discuss those ideas. So
that sounds
But in the meantime, make comments if you guys, you know, have other topics that you would like to hear covered during these types of gatherings.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm super passionate about keeping the momentum going and continuing to build these connections, you know, and it's wonderful. Thank you all so much. I hope everyone has a great rest of the day or evening, wherever you're located around the world. And John, thanks for sharing your masterminds link there. Awesome. And and so definitely share that too in the Facebook groups, just so people can see it if they're not looking at the chat, you know, as well. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thanks, Greta.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kevin and everyone. Lavinia. Bye, everybody. Stephen.